He told me not to worry about the girl commenting "Goodnight" on all his posts. I DMed her. She said, I didn't know he had a girlfriend. I said, neither did he, apparently. I'm not proud of what I did, but I don't regret it either. My name's Marcy, and I'm 33. I live in Wichita, Kansas. I work in property management, nothing fancy, but it pays the bills. I'd been with Trey for almost 4 years when this all happened. We lived together in a 2-bedroom rental on the east side. The kind of place with old beige carpets and a noisy fridge. It was ours, though. Or I thought it was. Trey was one of those guys everyone liked. Soft-spoken, easy laugh, always polite. He worked in HVAC repair. Came home smelling like Freon and metal, and sometimes I'd joke that he brought the cold air with him. He was never loud, never angry. Just comfortable. Maybe too comfortable. At first, everything was fine. Dinners, movies, weekends with friends. He met my mom, even fixed her dryer. He held my hand in public, remembered our anniversary, kissed my forehead when I fell asleep on the couch. But over time, he got distant. Not in a big, dramatic way, just little things. Less eye contact, less touching. He'd spend longer on his phone, longer in the garage. He started taking late jobs across town. Then I noticed her. Her name was Kayla. She was younger, maybe mid-20s. Blonde. Every post Trey made, whether it was a picture of his truck, his lunch, or just a meme, she'd comment. At first, I didn't care. I mean, it's just social media, right? But then I noticed a pattern. She commented every night. Always the same thing. Goodnight, yellow heart, every single post. No matter what it was. Always around 11:30 at night. No variation. Not sleep well, not sweet dreams. Always goodnight, yellow heart. I asked him about it once, half joking. Who's this Kayla girl? She got a bedtime alarm set for your profile or what? He smiled, shrugged. She's from work. She's harmless. Harmless. That word stuck in my head. I asked again a week later. She ever know you're in a relationship? He looked annoyed that time. Marcy, come on. She's just being nice. She comments on everybody's stuff. But she didn't. I checked. She followed only about 150 people. Most were private. The ones that weren't? No comments. No hearts. Nothing. Just Trey. And that goodnight yellow heart. I let it sit for another week. I didn't say anything. I started paying more attention. He kept his phone face down. Started using the bathroom with the door locked. Logged out of Instagram on his laptop. That's when I stopped asking questions. Instead, I made my own Instagram burner account. Just a fake name, no followers, no picture. I followed Kayla. Then one night, while Trey was snoring beside me, I sent her a message. Hey, just wondering, how do you know Trey? She replied 5 minutes later. We met at work. We've been talking for a while now. Talking like friends? More than friends. Do you know he has a girlfriend? That's when she paused. 10 minutes. Nothing. Then, I didn't know he had a girlfriend. I just stared at my screen. My heart was pounding, but not like I was panicking. It was a different kind of rush. Cold. Steady. I typed back. Neither did he, apparently. She didn't say anything else after that. Just left it there. I didn't tell Trey what I did. I didn't bring it up. I didn't throw a fit or snoop more. I didn't scream or ask him to leave. Instead, I started planning. If Trey wanted to lie, if he wanted to cheat behind a locked phone and a fake smile, he wasn't going to walk away clean. I wasn't going to throw my years away and let him pretend like it never happened. No. I was going to make sure he remembered. I was going to take everything from him. Slowly, quietly, starting with the one thing he cared about most. Trey didn't know I was onto him. That was his first mistake. I didn't act different. I still cooked dinner. Still laughed at his dumb jokes. Still asked how his day went. But I wasn't really listening anymore. I was watching. I needed time. Time to think, to build my plan. And the more I watched, the more cracks I saw. His truck? It wasn't just going across town. It was showing up in places it shouldn't be. One night, I followed him. I waited until he left for a supposed late AC repair. Then I grabbed my spare keys and got in my car. He drove 25 minutes north, past his usual service area. Ended up in a rundown apartment complex in Park City. I parked 2 rows over and watched. He didn't knock when he got to the door. He used a key. I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch. I took a picture. Then another. One of him walking up, one of the door closing behind him. Then I left. Back at home, I started collecting more. Phone bills. His calendar. His work route. I found the burner Gmail he used to log into different accounts. I figured out his password. It was the name of his high school football team. Typical. I found messages between him and Kayla. Photos. Voice memos. One of them laughing about how dumb she is. I knew that was me. That one hit harder than the rest. I thought I was being patient, waiting, building. But I realized something else. I was being disrespected. In my own home, in my own life, I made a plan to hit him where it hurt. First, I went to his job. I called his boss, Terry, and asked if we could talk. Told him I had something important to show him about Trey. At first, he brushed me off. Then I said, I think one of your techs is using company time and vehicles to visit a woman during work hours. That got his attention. I showed up with a printout of the photos, screenshots of texts, and the GPS tracking history from our shared phone plan. Trey had no idea he was being tracked. He'd turned off his location on his app, but not the actual device settings. Terry sat quiet for a while. Then he just said, damn. I left the rest up to him. Next, I went after the money. Trey had horrible credit. So years ago, when we moved in together, everything went in my name. The lease, the furniture, even the washer and dryer that we bought on credit, my credit. He always told me, we're in this together, babe. So I made sure he'd be in it alone. I called the landlord and told her I'd be moving out at the end of the month. Gave her my 30 days and made sure to request a new key. I told her Trey would be staying, but the lease would need to be rewritten. She said she'd need to run his credit. I said, good luck. I packed quietly. Just a few boxes a night. He didn't notice. I told him I was doing a declutter challenge from TikTok. The real challenge was not throwing his clothes into the street. Then I set the trap. One night, I told him I wanted to go out for dinner. My treat. We went to the barbecue place near Kellogg, the one we used to go to back when we were happy. I acted normal. Even kissed his cheek before dessert. He looked at me and said, you've been really cool lately. I'm glad we're good. I smiled. Me too. 2 days later, I was gone. Everything I owned gone. My name off the lease. My money out of our shared bank account. Utilities cut off. And a copy of the texts and photos printed out and taped to the bathroom mirror. He called 47 times in one day. I didn't answer. But I wasn't done. Trey didn't stop calling for a week. Voicemails, texts, emails, even messages on Facebook, which he hadn't touched in years. First it was confusion. Where are you? Can we talk? I don't get it. What's happening? Then came anger. You're being crazy. You ruined my job. This is overboard, Marcy. Then came desperation. I miss you. Please don't do this. I'm sorry. I stayed quiet. I wanted to move on. Really, I did. But something kept tugging at me. It wasn't enough. Not yet. Because here's the thing. Trey didn't just lie. He made me question myself. For months, I felt like I was losing it. He made me doubt what I saw, what I felt. That kind of damage doesn't get undone with a clean move out and a silent phone. I wanted him to feel it. All of it. I knew where to go next. Kayla. Not to hurt her, she didn't know. I wasn't mad at her anymore. But I needed to know how far Trey had gone. I messaged her again. Hey, I left him. Just wanted to ask, how long were you two seeing each other? She answered fast this time. Since last summer. Almost a year. A year. We were still sleeping together. Still vacationing. Still going to family cookouts. A full year of double life. I asked, did he say anything about me? She said, he told me you were crazy. Controlling. That you used to hit him. I stopped breathing for a second. I'd never laid a hand on him. Not once. I never even yelled. He made me the villain in his fantasy life. She kept typing, I found out about you a few weeks ago. He told me you were his ex, but wouldn't leave the house. That's why I didn't say anything at first. I'm so sorry. I just wrote, don't be. He fooled us both. Then I thought of something. Want to help me with something? She didn't even ask what. She just replied, yes. We started trading stories, notes, screenshots. I got the timeline, the lies, the overlap. I pieced together everything. And then, I found out the worst part. She wasn't the only one. There was another woman. Rachel. Older. Divorced. Lived in a nearby town, Newton. Kayla had seen her name pop up on Trey's phone a few times, asked about it. He'd said it was his cousin. It wasn't. Rachel had been dating Trey for nearly 6 months. And she thought she was the only one too. That's when it hit me. This wasn't a guy who slipped up. This was a pattern. A full-time job of lies. He was building himself a little harem. Each woman fed a different version of reality. Each one played off the other. Trey wasn't just a cheater. He was a manipulator. A full-blown narcissist. And I wasn't the only victim. So I made a group chat. I called it Trey's Greatest Hits. Me, Kayla, and Rachel. I introduced us. Sent a photo of him that we'd all received, the same smug selfie in his work van. Rachel's first message? You've got to be kidding me. We compared notes. Turns out, he'd used pieces of our personalities to win the others over. Told Kayla he liked younger women because his ex was too uptight. Told Rachel he wanted a mature woman because girls his age don't get it. Told me everyone else was just a coworker or a mistake. He'd been playing us all. So we decided to play back. Together. We met at Rachel's house one Sunday afternoon. Neutral ground. She made coffee. Kayla brought cookies. I brought a folder, thick with everything I'd printed, logged, and collected. We didn't cry. We planned. Each of us had something to lose. Rachel had introduced Trey to her kids. Kayla had been convinced he was going to move in with her. I had nearly signed on to buy a house with the guy. He left damage everywhere. But together, we still had power. Rachel was the one who came up with the final move. You ever seen those expose Facebook posts? The ones where they tag everyone and lay it all out. I had. We all had. But this one wasn't going to be just a social media call-out. No vague hints, no cryptic quotes. We were going to list every lie, every date, every screenshot, every time he used us to get what he wanted. So we built it together. Post by post, message by message. Kayla made a spreadsheet of overlapping dates. Rachel scanned in cards and gifs. I uploaded photos, videos, even voice memos he'd sent where he was whispering sweet things on the same night to 3 different women. The final touch was the group photo. Just the 3 of us, smiling. With the caption, "Meet Trey's girlfriends." We posted it all at once. Same day, same time. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even LinkedIn. It spread fast. People shared it, commented, tagged others. His family saw it, his coworkers, his boss. Trey's phone blew up. And then came the fallout. His job officially fired him 2 days later. Not just for the drama, but because Terry had found he'd billed hours for jobs he never did, so he could go see Rachel or Kayla. Rachel blocked him. Kayla changed her number. Me? I sent him one last message. I hope every good night you lied about keeps you up. I blocked him after that. But it wasn't a clean victory. Not for any of us. Rachel felt ashamed for introducing him to her sons. Kayla told me she cried for days. And me? I realized I'd spent years loving someone who didn't exist. And I missed him sometimes. Not Trey, the real one, but the version I thought he was. The one I built in my head. That was my mistake. I ignored the signs. I let the goodnight slide because I wanted peace more than I wanted truth. I told myself love was supposed to bend, but it shouldn't break. And next time, I won't wait for the red flags to catch fire. I'll walk at the first spark. Because no matter how soft a man's voice is, if his words don't match his actions, he's not worth hearing. And if you ever see a girl commenting "goodnight" every night on your man's page, ask her yourself. The truth's only scary if you don't ask. Marcy.